What's up, everyone? Let's talk about credit reports. Most people think their credit score is just based on what Experian, TransUnion, or Equifax says, right? But what if I told you there's a whole other group of credit reporting agencies out there, silently deciding whether you get that apartment, that loan, or even that job? Yeah, it's kind of messed up. These are the secondary credit bureaus, and they're collecting tons of data on you. We're talking everything from your rental history to your checking account habits. So in this video, I'm breaking down 12 of the most important secondary credit bureaus you need to know about. First up is CoreLogic. They're all about property data. Think rental applications, mortgage approvals, and even insurance rates. CoreLogic digs deep into your rental history, looking at everything from late rent payments to evictions. Landlords and property managers absolutely love these guys because they give them a really detailed look at your track record as a tenant. So if you've ever been denied for an apartment and couldn't figure out why, CoreLogic might be the reason. Let's talk about ChexSystems. These guys are the reason you might get denied when trying to open a checking or savings account. They've been around since the 1970s, and their whole thing is tracking your bank account behavior. Think bounced checks, overdrafts, unpaid fees, basically anything that makes you look high risk to a bank. ChexSystems operates completely independently of the big three credit bureaus. So even if you have a perfect credit score, a negative mark on your ChexSystems report can seriously hurt your chances of getting approved for a bank account. Next up, we've got TeleCheck. And these guys are all about your check writing history. Whenever you write a check at a store, there's a good chance they're running it through TeleCheck. TeleCheck wants to know if you have a history of bouncing checks, if you've written any bad checks in the past, and basically how risky you are as a customer. So you're at the checkout line, you've got your groceries, you write a check, and suddenly it's declined. Well, it could be TeleCheck flagging you as a high-risk customer. 4. Innovis, the fourth credit bureau. They're often called the fourth credit bureau, and while they're not as widely known as Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, they still play a significant role in your credit life. Innovis collects a lot of the same information as the big three: your credit history, payment history, outstanding debt, and they use it to create their own credit reports. The good news is, just like with the big three, you can request a free copy of your Innovis credit report every year. 5. LexisNexis, the data mining giant. We're talking about one of the most comprehensive and powerful data brokers out there. LexisNexis Risk Solutions, to be exact. These guys are like the Google of personal data, and they have their hands in everything. LexisNexis also collects data on your driving history, your insurance claims, and even your professional licenses. So, if you've ever gotten a quote for car insurance that seemed way too high, or if you've been denied a loan and couldn't figure out why, LexisNexis might be the culprit. 6. SageStream, the alternative credit tracker. Now, SageStream used to operate as its own separate entity, but they've since been acquired by LexisNexis. They specialize in collecting what's known as alternative credit data. We're talking about things that don't usually show up on your traditional credit report. Things like your cell phone bill payments, your utility bills, your rent payments. A lot of lenders, especially those in the subprime lending market, rely heavily on SageStream's reports when making lending decisions. 7. ARS, the silent credit influencer. ARS, which stands for Advanced Resolution Services, is another one of those lesser-known credit bureaus that can still have a big impact on your financial life. They work with a lot of debt collectors to track down people who owe money. 8. Clarity Services, the subprime specialist. These guys are owned by Experian, but they focus specifically on what's known as the subprime market. Clarity Services collects data on these types of loans and uses it to assess the creditworthiness of borrowers in this market. 9. DataX, the other Equifax player. DataX is another credit reporting agency that's owned by one of the big three. This time, it's Equifax. They collect information on things like payday loans, rent-to-own agreements, and other alternative financial products. 10. PRBC, Micro-Built Building Credit the alternative way. PRBC, which stands for Payment Reporting Builds Credit, is owned by a company called Micro-Built. They collect data on your rent payments, utility bills, and other recurring payments that aren't typically reported to the major credit bureaus. This information is then used to create a PRBC score, which is an alternative credit score that lenders can use to assess your credit worthiness. 11. The Work Number, your employment history revealed. The Work Number is another Equifax subsidiary, and this one is all about your employment and income history. They collect data from employers, verifying things like your job title, your salary, and your employment dates. This information is then used by a wide range of organizations, including lenders, landlords, and even potential employers, to verify your income and employment history. Tenant screening agencies, the gatekeepers of housing. These are companies like RentGrow, Yardi, and RealPage, and they specialize in providing landlords with detailed reports on potential tenants. We're talking about everything from your credit history and your rental history, to your criminal background, and even your social media presence. So, if you're planning on renting an apartment or a house anytime soon, it's a good idea to check your tenant screening report and make sure everything is accurate. So there you have it, 12 secret credit bureaus that are quietly controlling your financial life. These agencies have a surprising amount of power, and most people don't even realize they exist. But now that you know, you can start taking steps to protect yourself. The first step is to request your free credit reports from all 3 major credit bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Once you have your reports, review them carefully for any errors or inaccuracies. And finally, consider freezing your credit with all 3 bureaus to protect yourself from financial fraud. This concludes our video on the 12 secret credit bureaus controlling your financial life. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful content. Thank you for watching.